Last time on Doodly Squatch.
Drawing is hard. I'm an artist. Please give me money.
Just kidding. And right on into part 2. Here we go. So, when I last left off, I was with my child and we were talking about commissions and things like that. But specifically talking about the coloring of this particular doodle, you'll notice that I started with a big blue base and immediately switched back from that, which in the end turns out pretty good. I liked that a lot of the sort of blue shadows remained, to where I was able to fiddle with those for a good bit. And trying to maintain kind of a cohesive coloring overall with all the pieces, so that, you know, each card kind of can live as its own entity, but then all together it's all Voltron together, looking pretty awesome. It was very fun kind of going through slowly and sort of finding where precisely I wanted to put things, or where to add more detail and get more goopy, and then even splash blood around, that sort of stuff. Well, yeah, in that same vein, talking about commissions like before, there's been times where my skill set is misunderstood. There were 2 times in my youth where I had someone like, "Oh, you paint?" It's like, well, yeah, I paint. You know, I'm able to. I'm capable of painting. You know, at the time, that's mostly what I didn't have a digital way to create art. So yeah, painting was about as fancy as I got. And come to find out, they meant paint like house paint. So that's how I ended up once painting someone's house. Just painting it blue, and it was an interesting one because I had rollers, I had big broad brushes. And, I got the job done, but I was like climbing around their house like a monkey. I didn't have like ladders or anything like that. So I'm sure that looked interesting from the road. And another time, a fellow who was a business owner in my neighborhood, wanted me to paint the lines in his parking lot for his store. And the kind of funny thing about that is I'm fairly certain he approached me as a sort of workaround to getting actual like construction workers or some, actual like professionals to come and do his parking lot, because I'm sure there's some kind of like code or some standard that you're supposed to, be at painting, probably even specific colors that you're supposed to paint when it comes to lining your parking lot and painting the handicap parking spot, little dude on a chair over a blue square. And I'm pretty sure he approached me because my dad worked for the city that we lived in, and was involved with like code enforcement officers and things like that. So it's almost like if I get his kid to do it, they're not going to really go after me because it's someone's involved that should know, or I don't know. But it was an interesting way to make like $120, at the time. That was a lot. It was great because then I just used it to take my future wife out on a date. But yeah, just a funny happenstance where someone, asks if I paint, and I don't specify I'm an artist, not I'm a painter. So that's been kind of fun. as far as like subject matter goes, when it comes to like commissions and drawings and things like that, if it's something I don't want to draw or I don't want to make, I will often, quote a much higher price, in hopes to scare the person off. Or if that's the case, then if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be paid well, which is amusing because I remember once someone wanted me to paint some horses around mountains with a fence and skyline, tra la la, all that stuff. And while I'm certainly capable, I I dragged my feet a lot and probably fed into the flaky artist stereotype quite a bit when it came to that one. I got it done, but under duress because the person was like, hey, I might want my money back. This is taking a while. So it's like, no, I'll do it. I can do it. I'm capable. But it certainly gave me a better idea of how to go about accepting commissions and, what I'm willing to draw or what I'm willing to do for money, essentially. Let's see. On the subject of jobs, since I'm kind of out of commission stories, one of my first jobs, the one that I worked the longest before my current occupation, I was a Parks and Recreation leader. Essentially, my job was to sort of man an office at a park, usually where something is being rented or used, and they need an employee there, either to like set up, take down, that sort of thing. So a lot of my job was sitting around, which was great for a first job. It certainly didn't teach me any real like work ethic, I would say, just because most of my job was spent reading books and then taking down tables and chairs or putting them up. But I certainly got good at being alone and not getting bored. Reading's always been a good outlet. Doodling while I'm at work. Eventually, after I graduated high school, my graduation present was a laptop, which was a huge deal in the early 2000s because having a just mobile computer was pretty awesome in any sense. But it had a DVD player, so I could watch short movies as long as I was being a good boy and paying attention to people. And but it wasn't necessarily allowed, but we were on our own honor system, that sort of thing, and I think I tread that line pretty well. But it is funny thinking about it now, as a big boy adult. It's like, yeah, no, when I see kids on their phones at their jobs, that always bothers me. So I could see how that could be a problem. Yeah, I don't know how employers deal with teenagers. Speaking of which, my oldest got a job. He's working at a local theater out here and really enjoying it. He does concessions and podium and box office. So, he's getting a lot of work experience. Plus he gets, sweet freebies and discounted concessions, and he's scored me some movie posters, so it's nice. Our local Barnes and Noble is having a Criterion Collection sale, and he's been anticipating that for a while, him and some of his film buddies. So I tagged along. It was kind of fun to see them rifling through all the through the stacks, looking at all the movies, trying to figure out which babies to keep and which ones to set off for later, and he picked out a fun selection of movies. I got Pee-wee's Big Adventure, that's a fun little snapshot of my childhood. I remember I would watch that, and we also had Big Top Pee-wee, which was Pee-wee with a circus. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure had, a lot of like sort of funny, formative memories for me. The Tequila Song, or Large Marge, or just even that creepy clown that's like outside of the bike shop that they like zoom in on when he realizes his bike's gone. It's just, yeah, stuff that really sticks out, especially from when I was a kid. But it was fun being able to sort of participate in my son's obsession and see how excited they get. It reminded me of me and my friends, going to like GameStop to like look at games, or I remember going to Best Buy and stocking up on CDs or DVDs. When you're young and you don't have bills to pay, and you're just you save half your paycheck and the other half is just to blow on stuff, and so I it's kind of fun seeing that with my kid. My dad would get so mad whenever we would go to the bank and deposit my check. I would take out my spending money, and then I would go to like Circuit City and find some crappy PS2 game to buy, and more often than not I would end up turning it in at GameStop for 40% of what I paid for it. And my dad was so perplexed, and he's like, what a waste of money. and I can't disagree with him now, but at the time it was my hobby. That's my adventure, that sort of thing. It is nice having responsibilities and bills and things like that, because then it makes me kind of prioritize what I want to spend my money on, so that I'm able to kind of appreciate those things more, rather than oh man, I feel a lot of buyer's remorse when I was a young man. But when it comes to like video games now, they're so expensive. Oh my gosh, upwards of between like $80 and $100, depending on if you're buying some super wub-de-dub edition, that sort of thing. I say that because I recall purchasing Saints Row the Third, the wub edition that netted me the dubstep gun, a statue of Johnny Gat, a Doomsday button, and a number of other things, but that's neither here nor there. But that's the doodle. We did it. It's the largest card drawing I've done as of now. I'll have some more to show off later. But anywho, appreciate you guys watching, tuning in, subscribing, commenting. It's always appreciated. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.